One, two, three. This is Dr. Alex Avila, and this is Love University. I'm a psychologist, author, and speaker. And here at Love University, we talk every week about how to love yourself, others, and higher nature. And basically, the idea of this is to really improve your life, psychologically, spiritually, emotionally, and in any way possible. And today's topic, I think, is very relevant to what's going on in the world. It is how to be kind-hearted in a mean-spirited world. If you look out there, there's a lot of aggression out there in the world, hostility, selfishness, anger. And if you're a person that's kind-hearted or sensitive, this might affect you in a very severe way. There's a little boy that was riding with his mom, 5-year-old boy, on his way to school, and she was driving. And accidentally, she veered into the right lane a little bit, and this car driver got very angry. He started honking, and he flipped her the finger. And the little boy said, "Mom, he's showing you a finger. Does that mean he likes you?" I said, "No, that means he's rude." And unfortunately, that happens a lot. Rudeness is very prevalent in our society. And the idea of being kind, it's a very powerful idea. And kindness is really treating yourself and others with respect, goodwill, and dignity. It is often an internal trait because when you're kind to yourself, you're patient with yourself and compassionate, you will also be that same way with other people. Whether you help them, smile at them, give them positive feedback, in whatever way you help others, you're being compassionate, relieving their suffering, or being empathetic, putting yourself in their shoes. Kindness can be something that we learn. Now, you may be wondering, why is kindness good? Obviously, you're helping people, that's good. But kindness is often very beneficial to you, the person who is being kind. They had a study with multiple sclerosis patients in a hospital who had an exercise where they were kind to their fellow people in the hospital. And they found that those that were kind to others, the patients, had more confidence, self-esteem, and even better daily functioning as a result of being kind to their fellow patients. Kindness can even activate certain regions of the brain that increase your mood, improve your sense of connectedness to other people, and reduces your anxiety. In fact, being kind can even make you more physically attractive to others. They had a study where they showed people neutral faces that had no positive or negative aspect to them. And then they said some of these people in the picture are kind-hearted and good and decent, and those people were rated as being more physically attractive just by those descriptions. When you're kind, people also let you into their emotional lives. They have a closer bond with you because they realize they can trust you with their feelings. They can tell you their pain stories or trauma stories, and you can help as a kind of a counselor for them. You can do more at work. Recently, I did a presentation on compassion in the workplace, where because there's a lot of hostility in the workplace these days, there's a new approach to develop more helpfulness, like coworkers helping each other on certain tasks. They don't even need to help each other, but they do it because they want to relieve the stress of their coworkers. They're being compassionate. And that increases the trust that they have for each other as a team, and they actually produce more and do better at work. If you're kind, you have less stress. Studies show that you have less of what's called the cortisol, which is a stress hormone, in your saliva when you are more generous and when you're more kind. And you sleep better as well because you have less of that stress. So it can be as simple as opening the door for someone, holding a door open, helping an elderly person cross the street, helping a neighbor find their dog, saying a nice word to someone that's feeling down, listening to someone attentively. There are many ways to be kind in very simple ways, smiling, saying hello, acknowledging people. These are very simple ways, but they can have great benefits to others and yourself. If you're a kind person, you also have better health and you live longer. Research shows you have less inflammation in your body, less likelihood of cancer and diabetes if you're a kind person. Also, you're happier. When you're kind, we have endorphins that are released, which are natural painkillers, like we see in the runner's high, and also serotonin, which is a confidence hormone that makes you feel better and gives you self-esteem. So all these are part of your kindness mechanism. And also, kindness can be contagious. When we see other people act kindly, and even in a heroic situation, we feel elevated. We feel that we want to go out and do the same. For example, the miners that are trapped in a deep hole and survive after several days and they're rescued. Or 9/11, or other situations where people have been heroic for each other, that can elevate us. That can give us a mood that we can do the same thing and be kind to others as well. Now, you might be thinking, well, all this sounds great. I mean, be kind and nice. I mean, that's all wonderful, but it's not realistic. It's kind of Pollyanna, perhaps. We live in this world where there's war and violence and discrimination and even hatred. How do we be kind in this kind of world? And the other thing that people may argue is that nice guys or nice people often finish last. They're often perceived as weak, pushovers and things like that. And it is true that someone that has a lack of self-esteem may be overly nice to try to win people over, and that could be an issue. But most of the time, if you're kind, but in a smart way where you actually are strong within yourself, you can actually do great benefits. And the first thing to think about is, let's say that you're in a relationship and someone is maybe trying to take advantage of your niceness, or your family members. They want you to do all the cooking and shopping and babysitting and things like that. And you might be hard-pressed to say no because you want to please them. You have to realize that in every relationship, you should have a harmonious exchange, both giving and taking. In the martial arts, there's an exercise where you stand side by side with someone and they extend their arms, and then you push that person back with your arm and they retreat, and then they push you and you retreat. So it's a constant giving and taking. The arms are moving back and forth very harmoniously. It can be very beautiful, almost like a dance. In the real world, that should be the same way. When you give to someone, you extend yourself and then they extend back. If you don't have that exchange, then you might need to relocate your positive energy somewhere else. You might need to give to someone else and not be as involved with that person if there's not that give and take, if they're not giving back as much. And the other thing is, we need to know how to say no. Those are very powerful letters, N-O. And we did a podcast on that, and it was very popularly received. In that it's not easy to say no, it's not easy to hear it, but sometimes you have to say no to that extra request, and you're too busy or overwhelmed by certain things, and you can't really help the person at the moment in the way you want to. But you can say no, and you say it firmly in a polite way. And it can really help you a lot in maintaining your firmness and confidence. The other possibility, if you're a so-called people pleaser or very kind, is the idea that you can be burnt out trying to help everyone. You can't really do that. One of my colleagues was a therapist who worked with abused children, and she loved the work and was compassionate, but she would cry every night, and she couldn't really handle it because it was affecting her. She ended up quitting and becoming a real estate agent, and she was successful. But for some of these caregivers, first responders, sometimes law enforcement, doctors, psychologists, therapists, pastors, people that really help a lot, they can get into that burnout stage. So they need to learn how to do self-care if you're a sensitive person, whether it's a spiritual practice, exercise, meditation, spending time with animals, children, or nature. Whatever it is that rejuvenates you or gives you energy, you need to do that very importantly, especially if you are that caregiver. You're the person that likes to give to others and is kind to others. So let's examine more closely the idea of how to be kind-hearted in a mean-spirited world. Again, we have to be realistic. There are people that are negative, critical, maybe even abusive, hostile, whether it's road rage, driving on the freeway, or dealing with coworkers or bosses, even family members, or even your partner. So how do we deal with that, especially if you're a sensitive person? We know about the highly sensitive individuals, people who are attuned to emotions, and they can really very hurt being in this kind of very difficult, mean-spirited world. So first of all, you need to protect yourself. Have a force field, a psychological shield in which you protect yourself from negative, so-called negative or critical people. And the way I like to look at it is think of people that are negative or critical or harsh as being patients in a hospital, and you're the doctor. So you can offer your kindness as a medicine, and they may or may not take it, but it's up to them if they want to take it. And if they don't, you still get to go home to your relaxed mental place, and your psychological palace, and they may be stuck in their suffering. Although you have compassion for them, you realize everyone is their own reward, everyone is their own punishment. What that means is that they suffer from their own personality. If someone's very angry and harsh, you can see their veins popping, their face becoming red, their blood pressure accelerates, their heart rate accelerates. And they're suffering under their own negativity, under their own harshness. And again, you can have compassion for them, but realize that you are not them, and they cannot affect you. And you still need to protect yourself and say, I am not these people. I can separate myself from their negativity. So that's a very important thing to do, especially if you're a sensitive person. The other thing you can do is find kindness mentors. Look in the world and maybe in history. Mother Teresa, for example, is a great example. A lot of compassion for the poor. Study their lives, read their books, look on their YouTubes, and kind of learn the message that they gave out. Being kind can have great benefits. Or surround yourself with people who are kind and polite and good-natured. These are individuals that can actually help you also improve your level of kindness. Another important thing is to be kind to those that are at your home, people that you're closest to. Mother Teresa once said, it is often easier to be kind to someone at a distance, maybe a homeless person you don't know, than to be kind to someone in your own home who's suffering from loneliness and sadness. So think about that. Maybe it's your children, your spouse, your parents, siblings, other family members, or even very close friends that are suffering in some way. You can really be very kind to them and compassionate. Now, it's not always easy because There could be hidden agendas and people have their own emotional things attached to it. But to be able to be kind to those that are closest to you is one of the first ways to start to develop and practice your kindness. Another excellent way to promote your kindness is something called compassion meditation. So this is an exercise that's extremely powerful in which you close your eyes, take a deep breath, and imagine that you're inhaling all of the suffering of people around you. Maybe a single mother that can't make ends meet, someone that's losing or has lost a loved one, a child, a parent, someone suffering from financial problems, relationship rejection, suicidal thoughts even. Imagine that this suffering is maybe a color. It could be black or red. Imagine you're breathing in this suffering, but you're breathing out a color, maybe white or blue, that represents compassion. It represents healing to everyone around you. So as you inhale the suffering, you exhale the compassion and the love. It's an amazing feeling. You will be so liberated from your own issues as well. And so to show that people that do this compassion meditation on a weekly basis, maybe 10 to 15 minutes a day, have more a sense of joy and hope, have fewer heart problems and medical problems, and they produce more of the hormone oxytocin, which deals again with emotional bonding and love. So it's very important to practice something like this. Another important thing is to find the humor in situations. Sometimes we take the harshness of people very seriously, and it's very hard for us to understand that, but humor can diffuse things. Now, there was a female movie producer in the Hollywood area who was very successful, and she was on the beach one day, relaxing, taking a little time off, and she found a bottle, and it was actually a genie bottle. And the genie came out and said to her, the female business executive, "I am your genie, I will give you one wish." Now the executive said, "Wait a minute, I thought I'd get 3 wishes. Then the genie says, "No, this is Hollywood, you only get 1 wish." And then the executive says, "Okay, I really love Hawaii, and I love to go there a lot. I want you to build me a highway that goes from California, where I live now, all the way to Hawaii, over the ocean," which is very far away. And the genie says, "You've got to be kidding me. That's impossible. Imagine the manpower it would take and the infrastructure to build and the expense to build a highway from California to Hawaii. That's impossible. Give me another wish." And the executive said, "Well, I've been divorced 3 times. And for once, I want to know what men are really feeling inside. They never tell me. I want to know what men are feeling. I want that wish." And the genie says, "Would you like to make that a 2-lane or 4-lane highway?" As you know, that's maybe a little challenge. But definitely humor can be a great way to, diffuse things and especially the harshness of the world. The other thing that's very important is forgiveness. Forgiving yourself, which can deal with regret. Forgiving others, which deals with anger and resentment. Even though people may not merit your forgiveness, maybe they did some horrible acts, that act by itself of forgiveness of others can liberate you from the past. It can really help you deal with that harshness of the past. Also, I like to think about the idea of developing your kindness muscles. Think of kindness as an internal trait. Not just because you want other people to react well to you or you want to please people, but because you want to develop this inner kindness within you. Think of it as a strength, not a weakness. Something you can develop that gives you more happiness, more health, more confidence within yourself. And every day, think of ways I can be a little kinder to others and myself. Whether I treat myself to a massage or a spa retreat or an exercise program or whatever it is that can make you feel better as well. Be kind to yourself and build up that practice. At the same time, combine kindness with a certain sense of toughness or inner strength. Again, the idea that you're not a pushover, you're not weak just because you're nice or kind. So you can see calmness and politeness as a strength when people are losing their temper. It's often the calm person that has the upper hand, the inner strength. And also practice saying no, maybe in small situations. I don't want that extra thing. I'm not going to do that today. And whatever it is, you start building up your ability to say no in a polite way, also kind way, but also in a firm way. And that will raise your self-esteem, and also people will respect you more as well because you combine compassion and kindness with that inner strength. Kindness can also be very useful in school and work situations. They did a study where they said that 80% of teachers and 70% of parents say that kindness is a trait they want children to develop. Even in the workplace. I mentioned earlier about the workplace compassion. And there are practices now in certain workplaces where people have a kindness project or kindness challenge where the kindest person or the kindest team that helps each other and is kind to customers wins a prize or some kind of certificate or acknowledgement. So that encourages them to keep practicing kindness, whether it's listening to their coworkers or maybe bringing a little gift to them, some homemade cookies, whatever it might be, something very small that can make a big difference in morale and also productivity in the workforce. Also, the idea of starting a kindness cycle where kindness regenerates itself. It keeps producing more. They had a study where they asked people, think of a kindness you did in the past and how you felt about it. Let's say you felt happy. And then they said, okay, now I'm going to give you some money, a small amount of money, $100. Do you want to spend it on yourself, paying off some bills, or do you want to spend it on other people, maybe a charity? People that had positive kindness experiences where they felt happier in the past are more likely to do kindness to others and actually take that money to spend on other people because they realized that there was a great benefit internally. I feel joyful and grateful when I was able to help people. So it can actually become a cycle of positivity where you keep helping other people, you keep feeling good about it, and you want to keep doing that and being kind. So let's talk about some practical things. How can you be kinder this week or kinder in your life on a very practical way? For example, you can write a gratitude note, whether it's an email or an actual written note, to someone that has helped you in life, a mentor, a coach, a teacher, a parent, maybe a friend. Tell them what you liked about it, them or loved about how they helped you and how you're grateful for that help. You can recreate a special day, maybe with your spouse. Think of the first date you went on with her or him, years ago, and now you go and do the same thing, or a trip. Or maybe with a good friend. You might have some reminiscence about the old good times. Maybe you look at some photographs or listen to some music from back in the day that kind of reminds you of those beautiful times you had with your friend or loved one. Listening with full attention. This is a huge way to be kind and a great gift. In our technology society, everyone's on their cell phones and checking text and emails, but also just to sit with there with someone and be present fully. Look them in the eye. Ask them, what are you feeling? Tell me about it. And really listen and really put yourself in their shoes. Be empathetic. That is an amazing gift, and that's a great way to be kind and gentle with another human being. Elevating others. Finding the good, complimenting someone on their ideas and their abilities. We often forget to do that, even among our family members, our spouses or children. We take things for granted. We don't realize there's some great people around us, perhaps, and they do good things. So let's compliment them. Let's build them up. That's a good way for you to be kind. Also, be clear but polite. Sometimes, if you're unclear, that is unkind. A wife that gets, or a partner that gets upset because her husband doesn't help with the housework, but she doesn't say anything. She just is quietly resentful, versus she's saying, hey, help me out with these dishes or help me out with something. In a more direct way, can be very kind because she's stating what she really wants in a straightforward way without being rude or negative. Practical help. For example, helping your friends with maybe babysitting, watching their dog, helping them move some things, giving them a ride. It can be very simple, everyday task. It doesn't have to be about money. It could be about your time, your energy that you invest in other people to be kind. Donating used things to charity that you have, clothes or other things, can be kind. And also learning people's names and using them. I have to admit, I'm a little bit bad about this. I sometimes forget. But to remember someone's name, that's the sweetest word they have. Like my producer, Reggie, right? Now, Reggie, I need to find out a way to remember your name. And I have a technique called acronym. Acronym is taking the first letter of your first name and coming up with a word that describes your personality. So, Reggie, what is a word to describe your personality starting with the letter R?
Reserved?
Oh, Reggie, that's a little bit understated. How about rambunctious?
I guess, yeah.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, maybe you're not, but, maybe you want to be a little more outgoing and fun-loving, but that would be nice. So that's a good way to remember that. Remember people's names, use it in conversation. And the other thing is, wisdom can be a great gift. For example, let's say you learn something, a great recipe or some inspirational quote on a blog, a podcast, or even an ebook that you can share with your friends, a great restaurant, a great movie, maybe some advice on relationships. Anything that you think can help them can be a tremendous gift, and that shows also kindness because you're thinking of them. You want them to live a better life. So there are many, many ways that we can think about to be kinder to others, to be more giving, more patient, and more loving. And it's not just about being a so-called nice person or good person. It's really about improving the positive energy you have internally that's going to make you feel happier, make you healthier, and also make you a joyful person that can contribute to others as well. So I want to do this with you guys right now. This is, to me, a very important thing. I want to give you a kindness challenge this week. Everyone that's listening to the podcast, tell your friends, tell your family members. I want you to do 3 things this week that are kind to other people. Things you wouldn't normally do. And it could be, again, a family member, a loved one, a friend, acquaintance, maybe even someone you don't know very well. Someone at work, whether you bring them coffee or smile at them or make a compliment or a little gift or just listen to them in a very deep way. Help someone watch their dog, walk their dog or animal or cat. Whatever it is that you do, think of 3 things you're going to do this week. And then you might even write down, how did I feel doing this? Was I happy about it? Did I feel obligated, overwhelmed? Was it pleasurable? Do I feel grateful? Do I feel joyful? Chances are, if you do this for maybe a couple of weeks, you're going to find that you're going to be feeling more optimistic, more hopeful, more grateful, because you're contributing something positive to other people. And many times they're going to reciprocate. Now, they may not do it immediately. It may not even be the person that you're kind to. Maybe someone else that you don't even know will come up with a kindness for you when you really need it. When you run out of gas, or you need someone to help you in some way, or even listen to you and your problems. And this is so powerful because I believe kindness can rule the world, especially if we combine it with a certain sense of strength, of inner toughness, where we're not going to be taken advantage of or pushed down or considered weak because we're kind, but we will be firm in our resolve, in our values, and what we believe in. And at the same time, we will be compassionate, we will be polite, we will be tenderhearted. So that ideal person, male or female, or whoever they are, they can combine kindness with that inner strength. That is a tremendous thing. And the idea that nice people finish last and nice guys finish last, I believe that's a fallacy. I believe that people who are kind and strong-minded will finish first because they have the essential balance of both elements. But they lead it with their kindness, they lead it with their compassion, their empathy, their desire to contribute to society and to humanity, and to basically leave something positive in their world and to bring love and goodwill to others. So I really encourage you this week to do this exercise. And also I want you to email me. Let me know how you felt about it, who you helped, or what kindness you did. So I want you guys to email me at lovetype4u@aol.com. That's LOVETYPE, the number 4, letter U at AOL.com. Call me at 310-226-8090. And also our website is loveuniversity.love. We have our blog and other stuff. And we'd love to hear your comments. And if anyone wants to be a guest on the show, we definitely are having some great guests recently. And anything you have, whether it's relationship issues or something in your life you want to work on, and again, we can be confidential as well if you want to be anonymous in some way, or send us emails. We can even answer some of your emails on the air and give you some advice. So again, this is Love University, Dr. Alex Avila. So have a kind-hearted but inwardly confident week. And now summer is here, and we're going to enjoy it. We're going to go out and really contribute to society and to humanity and to ourselves at the same time. So put away your iPads, your pens, your electronic devices in the school classroom, and we're now in recess. See you next time. Love University.